It wasn't that long ago when I featured a very affordable jump hour watch that was quartz from the brand Zarek. Today, I have a really interesting watch to show you guys. This is their latest wandering hour. It's an automatic. It's one of their more high-end offerings. It also gets a pretty cool feature that I haven't seen from a brand before, especially an affordable brand like Zarek. Overall, if you like futuristic watches, if you like wandering hours, you're going to love this watch. So let's flip the camera and take a look at the latest release from Zarek. The brand Zarek are known for their watches that tell time in a little bit of a different way than your normal everyday watch. And they try and make these watches pretty affordable. Today's watch looks a lot like an Urwerk. It's definitely inspired by the Urwerk 103. So I own that watch. I think it looks a little bit like this. It's not entirely the same. Obviously, the shape is a little bit different. The window is kind of the same. Obviously, the shape of the glass is different, but the idea behind this watch is pretty similar to that watch. There's a couple of things here that you're getting on this watch that you don't get on the Urwerk, and there's a couple of things on here that obviously the Urwerk does a little bit better. I will say that this is a very clean design. It's not easy to make a design like this and keep it clean. There are other brands who have attempted this, and I don't think they did it as well. This is very, very clean, a very neat design. So it's sort of an angular case, but at the same time, it's like a tonneau shape, organic shape. You have this little window at the bottom of the case, and there is a minute track. And of course, this is a wandering hour. So you have little circles rather than what's been done in the past. Usually it's a little arrow or a block. This actually looks good. So as you move along the time, those little arms spin and the hour changes. That's really it. It's actually pretty simple the way that this operates, but it's kind of cool. It almost displays the time in a digital way or a semi-digital way. So that hour, it says 6 right there, is pointing to the minutes, which is around 6:30 and 6:35. So you're not going to get a very, very accurate reading of the time because obviously this is a wandering hour. You're not getting seconds on here, so there is no moving seconds, so you can't see that your watch is working, and you won't be able to tell the time to the second. So these watches aren't really foretelling very precise time. They are more for looks. And speaking of looks, I really love the bracelet that they put on this watch. It is a gunmetal color, so to match that case, it has the name of the brand right there. It's a double deployant push button enclosure. There is a little bit of a trick up its sleeve, and I am really impressed by this because this is something that is extremely simple, but very, very useful. You see that? This is spring-loaded, and that is on-the-fly micro-adjust that you don't need to adjust at all. It is completely spring-loaded, so if you expand or when you move around your wrist, it's going to stretch. Very, very simple, and you get that on both sides. Look at that. So you're getting on-the-fly micro-adjust that you don't need to actually adjust. I like that. You have quick release on here. Of course, on the bracelet, you have solid links, and you get to see the movement from the back. It is a Miyota 9000 series. This one is a 9039, so it is a dateless version of the Miyota 9000 series, and you have a custom rotor on the back. You have a screwed-in case back, and of course a non-screwed-in crown. You get 50 meters of water resistance. This is limited to 250 pieces. It's in stainless steel with a gunmetal coating, like I was saying, and this is essentially a fully lumed dial. So everything that you see here is lumed except for that dark space that is behind the minute track. That is not lumed, but the entire minute track, all of the hours are lumed. Obviously, it will only last for 1 hour or less, depending on what time it is when you charge the lume, but that's how it works. And then you get a K9 mineral crystal on the front and the back. That is probably my biggest complaint about this design in general. I think they should have went with a sapphire crystal specifically for a watch like this because you have a sapphire crystal that's at an angle. It's a little bit easier to scratch, but at the same time, it might be a little less easy to scratch. Either way, at this price point, I think it deserves a sapphire crystal. It's not very big. I know it's a little bit harder to make a sapphire crystal that's curved like this, but I think it definitely would be a good addition to this watch. Speaking of Lume, I have one of the best lumed watches that you can buy currently on the market. This is the Lumiere Bel Canto with a fully lumed strap. I love this watch. It is so cool. And of course, it chimes out the hour. So it's just a really fun, playful version of the Bel Canto. And it's extremely lumed, which you can't go wrong with. And there is the Xeric Retronaut on my 7.5-inch wrist. And it looks really good. This is not a very large watch considering the complication and considering the shape of the case. At its thinnest point, so right over here between these lugs right here, it's around 31 millimeters. Over here, it's around 38 millimeters by the display. It's around 13 millimeters thick at its thickest point. That's also pretty good considering the complication and the depth that you have when you turn it on its side, because obviously there's a lot of space there. And then you have a lug to lug 45 millimeters, so it's 45.5 millimeters. But again, it varies depending on where you actually measure it. You do have female end links on here, so they do fold down completely. So it wears like a 45 millimeter lug to lug. So this will wear very comfortably on smaller wrists, larger wrists. Really cool. Well, there you go. The Lume is really good on here actually, because that entire minute track is loomed, and of course the hours are loomed. However, when you move the wandering hour, the next hour will not be loomed, and then it will fade even more as you go. But then eventually another hour will be loomed because that one was exposed when it was exposed to light. Unfortunately, obviously there is no solution to that unless you put a sapphire crystal on the entire top of the watch. So you will have a loomed, fully loomed watch for a little while, and then it won't be loomed anymore. Price on this. So the regular price on this is $999. However, right now on the pre-order, they are offering 35% off when you use a special code. That code is on their website. I think it's NAUT. And you get 35% off. So this watch comes out to $649. I think that's a really good price. Even with the K1 or K9 mineral crystal, I don't remember what they're putting on here, but even with the mineral crystal, I think that's a good price. $999, that's a little bit of a difference. I think they should put a sapphire crystal at $1,000. At $649, you're getting a really cool watch with a really nice bracelet and on-the-fly micro adjust in a butterfly clasp and a pretty cool, complicated watch that looks really great. I think it's very cool. $649, definitely worth it. Tell me what you guys think down in the comment section below. I will add a link to this watch down in the description. Definitely check it out if you are interested. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. That's really it, guys. I will catch you guys in the next video.